Welcome to Invincipod, probably the greatest podcast about the Amazon original series Invincible, based on the comic books by Robert Kirkman and a few different artists. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today we're going to talk about a trailer.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, considering it's been like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Almost
you literally, before we just started, Ralph was like, do you remember how you introed this? And I was like, nope, not in the slightest. I'll make it up as we go. So for those of you who are long-time listeners, you can now be watchers. It's been a while since you've heard from us on this feed. I'm sure at least a few of you might have followed us over to our spin-off show that's been running in the meantime, live action Star Wars. But we're back. We're back with our main show.
Yeah.
Technically,
yeah, it's weird.
It is weird. Yeah, so for anyone who has only been listening to Invincipod and has been missing us and it just kept us in your feed, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for not unsubscribing or anything like that. We are now a video podcast as well, so you can be watching this. You can be watching this live as we're recording this and joining us in the chat. It's something that we started doing with our Star Wars podcast, and we've decided that we like the format, so we're just going to continue it with Invincible when we come back.
Real easy. It's really easy to do these live. Yeah. And then within a half hour, the audio feed is up.
Yeah. It's quicker for you guys who stick around just as audio listeners. It means that you can interact with us more directly. It's fun for everyone. And yeah, it's a lot easier for us.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we're doing our show, Live Action Star Wars. Maybe I should put up a banner. Follow us at Live Action SW. We do that pretty much every week.
Yeah.
Video show.
It's this time. So if you are watching us live, hello to Lucha Johnny, Sarah, and Jeremy Kelly. You guys know you're there every week watching us on Live Action Star Wars.
But I don't know, this isn't like, hey, we're back. But I mean, if we could figure out a time to do more, I say, I don't know. I think maybe when the next trailer drops, but who knows when that's going to be, because the trailer that we've already seen said that probably 2023.
I think they were being like definitely late 2023, because that was sort of the running gag of the trailer was let's get a definite date in there. And it's like, okay, definitely 2023. But at the end of the year, vagary, like I kind of appreciate it though, because if they don't have a date and if they don't have a firm date or things could change, I'd rather them just say, yeah, hopefully near the end of the year.
Yeah, I like that they were like, guys, it's been like 2 years. We need to get something out there.
Yeah, remember this?
Some sort of trailer so people don't forget.
Yeah. And also like an explainer where it's just like, hey, look, animation takes a while. We didn't know. When we put season 1 out, it wasn't until after season 1 that we got picked up for season 2. So we started from scratch, essentially. Like, it's not like we had things ready to go. Obviously, you got art assets and things, but animation takes a while, guys. So yeah.
And what's great too is they announced season 2 and 3. Yeah. So chances are they're having a sort of a season 3's probably already begun at the same time.
I'd think so. Yeah, I would like to think. I'd hope.
So they probably have a jump start on that. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting.
I'm hoping that it will just get like a normal length of break in between. Like, I don't know, this one finishes in say maybe March next year, and then we get it in September. That'd be nice. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. And Jeremy Kelly, who I've been following this for a little bit, in anticipation of this episode, watched all of Invincible and finished last night or this morning at 1:30 in the morning. It's an easy show to watch. It's really good. I started to do a rewatch. I only watched episode 1, but instead I started to do a reread.
Nice.
Now, Invincible, I haven't read since 2008.
Yep.
So these I haven't read in a long time. I started Friday. I'm like, if I do 2 books a day, like before going to bed, if I do 2 books a day, I'll be done in 2.5 months. There's 144 episodes or issues, and then that's 2. So it's like 70. So like a couple months. So I started reading on Friday, and I'm just about finished with the 5th trade paperback. So I'm just like blasting.
You can fly through it. I did it when at the end of the season. So when season 1 ended, I can't quite read what it says on the back of your iPad.
That's
Fast?
Close.
Lost.
No.
Nope.
You're closer with fast.
Okay.
You're just missing an R where the S was. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, my iPad says fart on it. And they let it happen.
Of course, they'll let anything happen. Yeah, when season 1 of Invincible ended, I hadn't actually finished reading the books. I dropped off at a certain point, and then immediately after that, I was like, I love this. I want more of this right now. I'm going to read from the beginning, which I'd read way back in the day, and then I read all the way through, plowed through it all in maybe about a month and a half, 2 months. Loved it.
It's a real easy read.
It's
so easy,
so good. And you say it's an easy read, but like compared to reading comics now, where everything is 20 pages an issue, like this was still back in the day 32-page issues. So it feels chunky. Like issues feel more substantial. Like I don't mind a 20-page issue of a comic book now every Wednesday, like when the new Star Wars stuff drops or whatever. And that none of that bothers me. But yeah, it feels substantial. It feels like, there's a lot more per issue.
Well, for folks like Jeremy Kelly, who just finished watching the show, reading the book feels like the show in that each issue you have your storyline, but there'll be one page dedicated to a side story, like the Burger Mart bag landing in England, like that. Like so, you get
cutaways,
like a ton of sides, and so it feels super dense. There's one issue that's only 8 pages, and I think it must have been part of some sort of image compilation or something.
Is it the big splash page one? Like
No, the front has like some shitty art by McFarlane or something. Like it's a really bad looking.
I mean, this was around the time that they were trying to do like Image United, which went like 2 issues and then never finished and things like that. So your McFarlanes and all the rest of that original Image crew were around and trying to sort of dip their toes in.
The issue, I think 100 of Invincible, where Otley did all the Image characters, that was cool.
Yeah.
Because Otley has his Madman, which I have an Otley Madman right there.
That's awesome.
You can see
we love Ryan Otley. Ryan Otley is still probably top 3 favorite comic book artists.
Rereading the book. Cory Walker's great. I like Cory Walker, and he's a huge, part of the Invincible, everything.
And still is, like, even through the show, which is lovely to see.
But I'm getting into early Otley right now. Ryan Otley. So the first issue I read, I think Otley came in like issue 8 or something. It's right after the reveal of Nolan, or it's when Nolan takes out the Guardians of the Globe. The next issue is Ryan Otley, and I noticed as I was just reading it, like I just continue reading the previous issue. I started reading this issue 8 or whatever, and I'm like, just going. I'm like, wait a second. And it almost was like Ryan Otley was mimicking Cory Walker at the beginning of the book.
Transition,
and then slow by the end of the book, it's Ryan Otley. And it was such a, like, when you're reading like just book after book after book, that transition's really nice. It's really clean.
Because their styles are close enough that it's not jarring. It's not a jarring artist change.
I just noticed like the knuckles don't have the swirl. It's similar, but it's a different shape. It's a more like angled edges instead of a swirl, and the knuckles and the elbows.
And then like, even Otley's art over the rest of the run, because Cory comes in and does a few arcs now and then, but Otley's art just it continues to improve as it goes on, and I think it takes a big jump when
fast.
when FCO, I can't pronounce the surname, Palancester or something, is inking. When FCO is inking him, it's even better. That's the peak, I think, for me. That's my favorite stuff. And then FCO went off and did the Batman stuff with what's his name, Spawn artist, for a long time. Not McFarlane. The guy who did Spawn for a long time. He went and did Scott Snyder's Batman run when like the New 52 started and stuff. That's when he left Invincible, was to go and do that. And it's still really good because I think for a little while Otley was inking himself, maybe.
Yeah, I'm in trade paperback 5, and it's Crabtree, Otley, and Kirkman are the only 3 names.
Yeah,
and Crabtree's colors, like Crabtree and Otley, like fuck, dude, it's so
Dream
good.
Team. Yeah,
it's so good.
That book is a dream team, and it's like you now see, like, because I think Otley's doing a lot of Marvel stuff at the moment. I think he's been doing some Spider-Man and some X-Men and bits and bobs, and it's like no wonder, like everyone, if you're like Marvel or DC, like all that length of time, that decade, like the Invincible was running, they must have been just chomping at the bit, like waiting for him to be free so that they could get him on one of their big superhero books because he's so good.
Also, for those of you who haven't read the book and want to read it, like I'm in trade paperback 5, and I didn't realize how much happens after Nolan leaves, because in season 1 Nolan leaves. In the book, Nolan leaves. There's a ton of stuff. I'm still getting deep into shit after Nolan leaving that's already been injected into season 1 of Invincible. So right now, in trade paperback 5, Mark goes to college and deals with the who's the dude? God, I don't even. They haven't mentioned his name yet. He looks like Loki. The young dude that makes the Autonoman guys, whatever. I'm in that, and that was all in season 1. Like some of that stuff was in season 1.
Yeah, because they did a college visit, didn't they, in season 1? Yeah.
So, and then something I'm going to bring up now, because I'm right in the middle of Angstrom.
Awesome. Yep.
Angstrom
Levy.
Going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he may show up in that trailer we watched. There are theories out there. There's
okay. Yeah. I've only watched it once, and I watched it on my phone, and so I'm sort of blind on a few things. I just sort of remember the diner stuff. I'm guessing it was in the flashes of animations and stuff that we saw.
Yeah, Lucha says it's an easy watch.
Yeah.
One of the few recent shows I watched more than once. Yeah, it's so easy to watch, and there's so much fun stuff in it.
Jeremy Kelly mentioned that he's going to head to his comic shop and pick up some trades. Yeah, great. They're all going to be available. This year is the 20th anniversary of the book starting. So they're doing lots. They're doing big new, like, I think they're already out in like 3 big, massive, thick compendiums. If you want physical ones, they're doing those, but in nice hardcovers this year as well. So however you want to read it, digitally, physical, however you want it, it's going to be available for you.
If you get the individual like floppy trades, like, which is what I had, I ended up selling them off. I'm getting them digitally. I might have to buy some digitally. Because I read up all the trades I had while I worked at the comic book store. When that was done with, I got the rest of the trades in on digital, and then was doing it monthly till the end.
So my
collection's all jacked up.
Yeah, mine was all over the place. So I read the trades, and then I started working at the comic book shop, and then I read singles while I was there, and then
it's tough.
It was tough, and
the month read is tough.
And there was some delays at that time as well. There was some chunky delays because Walking Dead started becoming the primary focus for Kirkman, and so I was reading monthlies. And then I left the shop and I switched back to trades for a couple of months. And then I went digital for a couple. No, I think I went digital, but with single issues. And basically it was around that time that I just sort of dropped off. And I was like, I can't keep up with, I I took myself away from all of that because I'd been the guy ordering comics for so long
Yeah.
that I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't want to look at solicits anymore. I don't want to look at Diamond. I don't want to look at what's coming when. Like, I just give me a book when it's ready. And so I waited, and then obviously years went by and I just sort of dropped off of it, always intending to go back. And then it took the show for me to go back and finish
it. If anybody is, because it's 144 issues, if anybody's curious, like wondering, like, this is a lot to read, I'm just going to let everybody know that the ending is very satisfying. And so
it concludes brilliantly. It
doesn't fizzle out. It doesn't, it keeps up the quality throughout the entire series.
There are moments throughout that you're like, okay, wow, this has got to be the highest point. Like, this is the most tension that we're going to get in the show. Like, nope, it keeps going, like, and it'll keep ramping back up, and then it'll sort of ramp up to a big moment, and then it'll ease off, and like it'll take the foot off the gas a little bit, but you're getting into personal drama. You're getting more of the characters, because it's not just Mark. It's not just Mark and Nolan. It's not just that core cast. The cast fills out and it grows, and new people keep on getting added right until the end. They're adding new characters that are interesting. Like, we are dancing around stuff because we don't want to spoil any of it, but
I mean, any eagle-eyed viewer can get spoiled at any moment during this, because if you look down below in the background, there's a lot of people from a planet that Mark is sort of from. Yeah, and it's like this thing turns into a big, huge, I don't even know. It's so good. It escalates. It's so fun because it escalates from like global stakes. It starts out with stakes at like a high school. It's like graduating your stakes. He needs to graduate.
So like progressive in its build, which is amazing.
And then it gets to a universal level. And so I like watching what they've condensed into the first season. I feel like 3 seasons, they might be able to do a pretty good job. I don't know how long, like maybe season 2's longer. Maybe that's why it's taking longer.
Maybe.
Because the first season was 8 episodes. Could have been a proof of concept. Didn't know how it was going to go. Obviously, turned out going well. I think Kirkman would be happy with that.
If that's all they got,
the only Invincible,
you got to tell the story, and you did the Nolan bit. Yeah, that's like it's the proof of concept. It's where they sort of said, like, he had the same thing with Invincible and with Walking Dead, where it's like, give me this first arc, and then like I'm confident in the story that it will go from there. With Walking Dead, there's the famous thing where it wasn't selling very well at the beginning. It was just a zombie book, and he's like, yeah, but then in issue 6, that's when the aliens show up, and they were like, okay, cool, we'll give you 6. He completely lied to them so that he could get those 6 issues out there.
Yeah.
Because he was confident in it being the thing. And Invincible is the same thing. It's like, give me 8 or whatever it is to get to Nolan reveal and fight.
Yeah.
And then it can go.
Which then he did in the first episode, which was nuts.
It blew us away because it was like, wow, that's
what's good. That's what's good about the show, is it's
not a 1-for-1.
It's like there's still surprises for the fans.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have watched the series and want to read the book, if you don't want to get spoiled on the show by reading the book, I get it, but you can get pretty deep. Like I said, I'm 5 trades in. I'm just getting to stuff that's not happened in the show yet. And so you'll get a more fleshed out version. Yeah.
There's stuff that's reordered. You'll see some stuff that is in later books. You'll read some stuff that's probably going to be in later bits of the show, or they're just going to omit from the show because, if it only runs 3 seasons, then that's fine, because they are condensing it. They're all so involved that they know where they can run. It was a superhero book that was a monthly superhero book that when they were putting it out, they were like, we don't have an ending in mind. Like, they might have had a story beat in mind, but not an end point. Like, they weren't like Brian K. Vaughan working to 60 issues. It wasn't Chew, where it was like, we have a 60 issue arc, bang, 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 bang. Like, almost issue for issue is pre-written before they even get to it. Like, this was
Kirkman said to write this until he died, and then someone else could go and ruin it when he was gone.
Yeah, that was it. I remember at the time, like, Brian Bendis was also writing Ultimate Spider-Man, and they were both so complimentary of each other's books. They loved each other's books so much that Bendis would often hassle Kirkman. He's like, "Let me write Invincible. Let me write Invincible." He's like, "Let me write Ultimate Spider-Man." And it was like they were each other's like babies. They were like, "No, this one's mine. Like, we can play in each other's fields, but like, no, this one's mine."
Yeah, and getting to see Otley's Spider-Man,
it's great.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I think the only other artist that I would be fine with seeing do Invincible like regularly would be David Lafuente, who did like the last bits of Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man, and then like it was like there for the origins of Miles Morales and things like that. So they've got a similar energy, and I love Lafuente. He's great, good dude as well. Really fun.
Yeah, rad. Let's do some of this.
We should probably talk about the actual trailer.
Yeah. Here it is.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm going to turn it down. If you haven't seen it, I mean, go check it out.
Watch it.
But right off the bat, on the right-hand side of the frame, there's two fellas sitting there.
One is very hooded.
And the other is very almost. I just started reading this arc. That might be two. That might be two. Yeah. That's my guess.
I could see it. Is that Amber? Not Amber. Is that Eve behind Mark there on the left?
It looks like a girl. It looks like a girl with a grandmother, so it could be anybody. I'm gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna get this blood out of my face. There we go. I don't know.
It could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the two on the right, I think, are two angstroms. Now, for those of you who
we did get at the end. We got Angstrom at the end of season 1, didn't we?
In the flashes, I should have rewatched the season.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think we.
But even the stuff with Titan, Machine Head, and Isotope,
that's later.
And like Battle Beast. I just got to that like in the last.
Battle Beast popped up in the show already, hasn't he?
Yeah, that whole thing.
That's awesome.
With Titan and Machine Head and stuff.
Yeah, I remember Titan and Machine Head. Yeah, but then like it was are they going to include Battle Beast? Because Battle Beast has his own spin-off. Like that's a character, like Astounding Wolfman, like there are many characters that spun off of Invincible where if they wanted to, they could build this out into a universe of shows.
Dude, what they need to do is they need to do one issue or one episode like side character things. Let's get a Science Dog Halloween special, but it would probably be Seance Dog. I think for some reason you can't say Science Dog on the show.
I think they just decided to change it just for fun.
Yeah, Lucha says the Battle Beast fight was brutal. Yeah.
It's
more brutal in the show. It's more brutal in the show than it is in the comic. But in the comic, there's more fighting between Battle Beasts, and those are brutal. So they're probably setting that up.
I think when Battle Beast was introduced in the comic, they weren't sure that they were going to bring him back. He was just a guy. He was just a character.
A sidekick thug.
Whereas as soon as he came back, and obviously they know that in the show that he's going to be a major character, like you could go to the level that Battle Beast gets to in the comic earlier. So it makes more sense. I think it's one of those things where you can go back and retroactively look at things and go, that's better. Let's do that earlier.
On my Twitter, I just wrote Battle Beast is no joke. And I just put a picture of Ryan Otley's Battle Beast. And it's one of those tweets that still gets a like.
Yeah.
Like years later.
Just catches in an algorithm somewhere. Like, yeah.
Like someone just watched Invincible for the first time and was like, holy shit, what's up with Battle Beast? And went to Twitter and like my tweet from 2 years ago. The only one talking about Battle Beast. I don't know how much there is to talk about the trailer. I just
I think we get more of Seth Rogen's Alan in this trailer than we did in the show.
Right. Oh,
because we only got Alan right at the very end of the show.
That's another thing. If you do a reread on this book, 100% across the board, everybody's voices from the show I hear when reading. Alan, the Alan scenes in the book, 100% Seth Rogen's voice is now coming out of Alan. Stephen Yeun coming out of Mark. I not Omni-Man. I'm still not
Oh,
like
really?
I love J.K. Simmons. I think he's great in the show, but his voice is so J.K. Simmons.
It's
And then
he's the most familiar. I mean, other than Seth Rogen, maybe, but like J.K.
yeah,
Simmons will always be J.K. Simmons. But I don't know. I love him as Nolan. I think it works so well. Like I
he's
keep on
really
looking
good.
up here because I've got a poster of some later art of Invincible up here, and then I've got sort of this era Invincible up on over there. But I'm looking up here, and I can see Nolan, I can see Mark, I can see some other characters that I won't mention.
Well, if they
And
were to do a live action, let's say we were to do a live action, because there was news that broke recently
apparently,
that
it still want
Jeffrey
to.
Dean Morgan
Yeah.
is doing a voice on the show.
Well, it was. I
People are thinking
don't know if it was that. It was just him with a book, and it was like, Kirkman sent me some light reading. I think that was all it
it was
was.
Invincible Compendium 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So we're thinking Conquest or Threat. But if there's a live action movie, yeah, your camera just follows you. You tried. The if they were to do a live action film, I think he would be a perfect Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we know he
I
looks
mean,
good with a mustache. He's got the age, but he's not old. Like, and he's also built. Like, he would. You
yeah,
could put him in some spandex, and he would look right for the role.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to
Pretty impressive.
that. It's
Thanks.
mostly talking.
Oh no, I just worked here. I don't actually.
But there's some interesting stuff in here. Yeah, the pickle thing was good. Yeah, I think that's just an old lady back there. It's just an old lady with a granddaughter. Because why would Eve not sit there when? Also, nobody cares that there's an alien. Like it's.
I mean, it's a very meta trailer. It's not a real trailer. It's not like it's a scene from the show.
And I thought it was, so I avoided it for like a week.
Yeah,
Until I found out it.
It's the sort of thing that they could essentially use a lot of this and then just redo the faces and have them just delivering different dialogue.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we get into this, wow, okay, I didn't
Did you read this?
I didn't. Where are we?
So it's a scene between Immortal and Mark.
Yeah.
So this is post Omni-Man fucking up the world. This is a lot juicier than the confrontation in the comic.
Yeah.
In the comic, they come face to face and they butt heads. This sounds like they're actually going to fight.
I mean, they are going to fight.
Yeah, if this is
they
a
trade
real
blows,
page,
slamming each other into the foreground and background. It's brutal. Like they're
so
fighting.
I don't know. Like we know Kirkman likes pulling this shit. Like the later covers of Invincible were always complete lies. They just start flat out doing lies.
The solicits were always lies as well. Like for people like me who was ordering the comics 3 months in advance of them coming out, and I was like, as a big fan and as a reader, I was like, at first I'd be like, holy shit, they're doing that. Wow, okay, I better not spoil that for anyone. And then it was like, they're not doing that, and great because now I'm surprised.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just read this scene in the book. They do not come to blows.
No.
It's a yelling match, but an Immortal and Mark fight sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, Immortal was more involved near the end of the series as well than he had been at that point in time in the comics. So keeping Immortal around,
I guess. Do we know Immortal's still alive at the end of the season?
Because the
last episode opens up with the blood falling on the grass and he drops into two halves. But I mean, we saw his head cut off. So, and I want to say maybe in the flashes at the end of the episode, maybe they showed Immortal on a table.
I'd be surprised if he's not alive.
Yeah.
I mean, based on this alone.
But again, who knows what Kirkman...
this could be a complete red herring.
Kirkman approved this. Yeah, so
he knows what he's doing.
Like, he's either
he knows what he's doing, and he loves to troll people. Like he's great.
Yeah, Lucha says that he believes we do see him alive. I think we do. But Kirkman is giving this to the fans, or he's fucking with the fans, or he knows that we know he fucks with fans. So I think it's a good page. Yeah. It's a good page also because it goes a little bit beyond what we read in the comics. So it's a good tease for us that have been waiting for the 2 years. It's going to be almost 3 years. It's a little bit of he threw us a little bit of a bone. Like, hey, listen, you know how this series is sort of a little bit different than the book? like we're going to continue doing that. Here's what the fans know. So it's cool.
And it's also
like
noticeable that there isn't a page number on here or an episode number at the top of the page, so we don't know when exactly this is. So
right,
we just get an exterior. Yeah.
At nighttime too. In the book it's during the day.
Very much during the day. I remember.
So it could be him fucking around and saying, "Look at him changing the book."
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so this
new
was interesting
update costume for Eve.
Yeah, I don't
is it?
know the differences. It says it is at the top because it says Invincible season 2.
Default
it's version 3. So
yeah.
Also, it's a Photoshop file, which I think is fun.
From the 21st of July last year.
Okay.
So they were still designing stuff. I mean, again, none of these dates could mean anything. They might have intended to release this a year ago.
Right. The image in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
Invincible. They're both kind of like chubby looking like.
Yeah.
But fans of the series might know something. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter to the story, but at some point Eve gets a little more plump than.
And it's the way it's done is so good. And it's such at the time, especially, I think probably now in superhero comics, they're a little bit more diverse, but it was the comic doing this whole thing where it's like, no, like not everyone is this super slender, thin, like masculine or completely feminine looking. Like people are people, and some of them have superpowers.
Yeah. So
really
I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Maybe a little Easter egg. Who knows? Let's see what
storyboarding.
Okay, I did not look at these storyboards.
No, me neither.
I mean
they're rough little. They're sketchy storyboards for sure.
But I'm wondering if it's something that's like really juicy that they made like look super vague.
Maybe.
Sequence 0A, it says. Yeah. And then it says, I could definitely see on the top right, it says I've been interior diner. Oh shit, it's this scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's the scene. Right. Interior diner.
Yeah.
So it's him saying, it's him explaining reverse layout. It's showing.
Key posing, in betweening, cleaning up.
There you go. So it's just moving into
for, roughly thousands of shots. So it's kind of a lot.
And the rest is them talking about.
Sure. Yeah. Although 90% of that, if I'm being honest, sounds completely made up. But
so that's Angstrom. That's totally Angstrom.
I think you're right.
Even the powder blue shirt, I believe, is the one that's gathering the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. The world
like Angstrom Prime.
In late 2023.
All right. Okay, I'll take it. Late 2023.
There you go.
Sure.
You know what? Like at first I wasn't sure about Seth Rogen.
When he was announced, I was like, because I knew that he's obviously one of the key producers, and he's the one who bought it to Amazon and everything like that. He's been trying to do a movie for forever. I was the same. Like I heard it and I heard his announcement as Alan. I was like, okay, that's cool. If you're going to be anyone, if you're going to put yourself in the show,
he loves the series.
He loves the show.
Cool that they're letting him. But I wasn't sure. I never thought of Alan sounding like that.
No, he's a little
kind of.
Yeah,
it's all I hear now.
Yeah. Before he was announced, when I was reading it, like the voice that I heard was always Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, who's kind of that same like tone. Like it's a gregarious, like big, hey everybody, like that sort of voice. Yeah. But I don't know. I like what Seth Rogen's doing with it. He can be silly when he wants to be silly, and I'll be interested to see what happens when we get more of the serious side of Alan later on as well, because Alan's got a lot of story.
Yeah, his involvement with the Coalition of Planets. Yeah, it's exciting. It's really it bums me out that we have to wait so long, but at the same time, seeing that like totally sparked all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went and revamped almost everything top to bottom. Invincipod.
Ralph did all the hard work on that.
But I mean, but I wanted to. Like, I was really like, I was like, I want to update the logo. I want to update the streamer. Because we did one episode that was a video episode, which was our previous episode, and it didn't look like this. I'm like, I want to put the blood splatter in front of the screen. How much could I do that? I wanted to.
Today, this is for people that are used to watching our other show. This is the first time I've been able to use my phone as a new camera. So I've got a new camera set up. It follows when I blow my nose, which is really nice and lovely. But yeah, like I don't know. There's just something about it. It's refreshing coming back to this show that we haven't had. It's sort of the same thing I think we get at the start of a new series of TV with the Star Wars show. Like it feels like, boom. Okay, here we go. We're not treading water right now. We're into it properly.
You know what it is too? Like doing the Star Wars show for 2 years, like you deal with the fandom of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Star Wars has been around my entire life, almost. Yep. And it's one of those things where it's like there's so many expectations. There's so many expectations for the new season of Mandalorian, for everything. There's expectations from Star Wars fans. With Invincible, there's a comic, and that's it. Then we get the series, which like lit a fire under us to even start the show. And I'm like, oh man, I love Invincible, and this is going to bring people who are fans out of the woodwork.
I know a lot of people that listened to our show about Invincible and watched Invincible that have no interest in Star Wars. And it's probably because either they didn't grow up watching it or whatever, or because so much of the Star Wars fan base and everything, like it's a lot to get into, and like we're very much in there and we're a part of it and love it or hate it. Like you can find the right people in there. We talk about it all the time. That is our that's our motto on the show. But with Invincible at the moment so far, like I'm sure that there are people who don't like it, but the people that don't like it just don't talk about it. They're not there.
Yeah.
So everyone that's talking about it, anyone who's interested in it is loving it, and it's great, and it just makes a positive atmosphere, and it's a joy to talk about every time.
Yeah. And for new fans, I highly recommend reading the book. You're going to get pretty deep into it before you start getting into any sort of spoiler territory for the upcoming shows. But it's like reading Invincible. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
The drama and suspense is good. It's really good. The characters are really well written. They're a lot of fun. And I think it's issue 7. I used to think it was way later, that Nolan's whole turn happened way later. It's issue 7.
Yeah. I thought it was like 6 because of like the way trades were broken down like back then, but it's like it wasn't. It was the end of the 3rd trade, I want to say, like 2nd or 3rd trade maybe. It was weirdly sort of paced out, and it was like, I like that because you don't know, you can't go, all right, 6 issue trade. There's going to be a big thing at the end of 6. There's going to be a big thing here. It's like if you're reading it now digitally, you don't necessarily go, okay, I'm getting near the end of this book. There's probably going to be a big thing. Big things can happen in the middle of an issue and just a random number. Like the stuff just happens in this series, and oftentimes you're not expecting it when it's going to come, and it makes it thrilling to read. I'm very, very jealous for people who are experiencing it however they want to experience it, as a show or books or both, for the first time. Like my friend of mine is watching Lost for the very first time at the moment.
Yeah.
And to go back and to experience that for the first time, it's like, oh man, it would be like going back and watching Star Wars for the very first time.
Yeah. Lucha says that he may wait until the show ends, then seek out the comics in some format. That's cool.
It'll extend your life with Invincible, which is great. Yeah. And there's gonna be, I think there's gonna be video games. I think they've said like we're gonna get loads of announcements this year. Like I think the Kirkman has said is like,
really want.
Hit me.
I want what they did with Scott Pilgrim, the side scroller beat 'em up.
Yep. Yeah, the Streets of Rage style.
Streets of Rage, but Invincible, because you can do like unlimited characters.
Yeah,
there's so many characters. Like, can you imagine playing like Streets of Rage with Battle Beast?
That'd be amazing. It'd be so cool. And there's
with
characters that I
Thrag?
want to mention. There's characters that I want to
Because-
mention that, like, do you remember
But even if
Streets
you
of Rage
mention-
2? Was it Skate? Skate was the little brother? Yeah. So there's a character that I could sort of slot into the Skate role.
Oliver?
Yeah.
I believe we've said the name Oliver several times throughout the series of Invincipod. And again, it's one of those things where if you haven't read the books and we say the name Oliver, that means nothing to anybody. So I think we're good. But I would love to see Oliver would be great. Thrag. But can you imagine like a Streets of Rage beat 'em up with like blood and just all the the robot.
And, like,
what's the robot's names? Not Omni-Man.
There's Robot.
There's Robot, but the bad guys, the one at the college, the evolution of like the human bombs.
I'm
literally just where they're
Automen, something men.
Automen.
Automen. Yeah.
Like just waves of those guys, and then boss battles with
and like the end of level.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and then you could unlock those guys as playable later on and things like that. That'd be so good.
Because there's a Streets of Rage 2 boss where there's a guy who throws boomerangs. Like that would be Tether Tyrant, because Tether Tyrant's supposed to be like an offshoot of Captain Boomerang.
Yeah,
or at least I think in my head he is, because he's got the beanie and stuff. If they do a game, that would be the best way to do it. That would be the best. I don't want to see. I don't want like a 3D.
You could hear the music would be perfect. Yeah. I hope it's something like that. Like Walking Dead, they did the Telltale games where it was like a story, like choose your own adventures thing. That works for Walking Dead because it's a slower paced thing. But not for Invincible. Definitely not for Invincible. Nothing like that. River City Ransom was like that's that style of game.
Or Ninja Turtles, like Ninja Turtles arcade. Like, but what would be great is like you have some people like Eve who can do like projectile weapons.
And the combos that you could have with characters, like whether like you could have basically all of the team, and it's whoever it is, like multicate, is it multicate? What's that name? Duplicate. Duplicate, and like just the way that you could do powers with that would be great.
Hamburger Cat joins the fight. I hope they show more Shrinking Ray before you know what happens to her. I forgot the Shrinking Ray.
Yeah, they gender swapped
in the book.
They gender swapped Shrinking Ray, which is brilliant. Like the changes that they made work really well. Like I really like that. They buffed up Amber's role in the show as well, so we've still got Amber around at this point. Like kind of by now in the book, she's not that much of a character. She pops in and out now and then, but she's not really much of a character.
In what I read in this issue that I just literally read before we jumped on the air, she had just left Mark because Mark disappeared while the Automan was taken out of college. So
we'll see what happens with their relationship in the show, but it'll be like, I think anyone who's watched season 1 of the show, they can sort of see that like there is something there between Mark and Eve. Like, and it's like there is something there, and it's they're teenagers. It's got an element of teen drama to it, like the book and the show. Like there is an element of that to it. So there's going to be love triangles. There's going to be like unrequited relationships. There's going to be things that. So yeah, that leads to something that we need to talk in vagaries. But are there things in season 2 specifically, not season 2 or 3, in season 2 specifically that you think that we'll see? I've got a couple.
Conquest?
I think Conquest makes sense in terms of what we'll see from that side of that story.
I feel like
I think we're going to see the blue and black suit. I think by the end
they're going to do it.
I think by the end
do it in the series.
Maybe. I don't know. I think if we're going to get it, we'll get it like near the end of season 2.
Did you like the blue and black suit?
I thought it looked good, and I thought what it led to with the revamped, the reworked version of the original suit was good.
Yeah, I like the revamped. I'm still in the stage where Mark has the cutouts in the back of his boots.
Yeah.
With like the knee pads.
The big knee pads are the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like but I feel like that's already been revamped for the
show.
show. So who knows? I don't know.
Maybe.
But
it gives Mark Hamill more things to do by designing new suits. So and we like seeing Mark Hamill in the show.
I think this is my thought, is what's going on down below me here. With all these guys, I think that'll be the climax of season 3. I think that Kirkman said, "Give me season 2." I think that'll be season 3. Would you think that would be like the end? Because like when I read this in the book,
it feels like the conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, if I get, he said, Price said, if I get 2 seasons, I'll have this is season 2, this is season 3, and then we all know as readers that would make a very good ending. But if they're like, hey, this is too good, we'll do season 4. We know that there's still.
Or you could do a 4 and 5 even after that stuff.
Yeah.
There's
5 seasons. 5 seasons would be perfect. Because here's the thing: I've always wanted an Invincible movie. I love movies. I'm not a big fan of animated shows, as you know from live action Star Wars. I prefer live action stuff. I'd like to see my comics become real. But at this point, how would you do a movie?
I don't want a movie of this show.
You need the side characters. You need the side stories that come back later on.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a superhero film. Whereas, like Invincible, the great thing about Invincible is it's not just superhero stuff. There's so much more to it. That's just happens to be there.
And now with the show, I don't want the movie. I'm good without it. This show is it's like the best Cliff's Notes versions of the book.
Yeah. It's not going to ever do. We're not going to get 144 episodes of this. It would be ridiculous to think that we ever could. And we've already seen with season 1 the way that they've trimmed some stuff, they've combined some things, and it's
pushed things forward.
It's worked so well. So if they can do as much as they've done in 8 episodes, if we got 32, I think that would be amazing. If we got, what would it be? If it would be 24, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, 24. If it was just 3 seasons of 8, and it would be. I think they could do it in that, but 5 seasons would be ideal. I think.
Do 5 seasons.
5 seasons could tell everything. 3 seasons could tell enough that I would be very satisfied.
I'd be good with 5 seasons and then an hour and a half, 2 hour movie.
Yeah,
that just really goes for it. Because I think the end of the series, the last story arc, I think ends really, really strong, and would be a satisfying.
And it's
conclusions.
Yeah, it would work as a standalone sort of thing. Yeah, you don't need to put it in theaters or anything like that. It can just be on Amazon. Like that's the beauty of having a streaming platform. Like, but put it out as its own thing. Like after the season, bang, here's the end of Invincible. I mean, hell, that's the arc. Yeah. That's an arc of the comic. Is the end of Invincible.
I feel like when we watch Book of Boba Fett, they split the last 2 episodes up. Like it feels like it was one big giant ending, 2-hour ending that they turned into 2 episodes. And so like the last episode was like just action, and I'm like, there's not much substance here. But if you put that together with the episode before it, it would have been a great climax to a movie. So I think like making a nice big chunky hour and a half like Invincible climax with that epilogue. God, that epilogue is so good.
One of the best comic book epilogues. Like I've finished. I've been very grateful that a bunch of the series that I've loved over the years have ended mostly in satisfying ways. But the ending and the epilogue of Invincible it's right up there as potentially. I can't think of a better one off the top of my head.
I remember reading that in bed. I was like 4 issues away from being done, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do it tonight. It's gonna be a while. And I read it, and I put my iPad down, and I was like, I'm very happy right now. I'm really, really happy.
Yeah.
Because Kirkman is a big fan of like sort of pulling the rug out from under you. You're like messing with your expectations, as we mentioned with.
I mean, when he ended the Walking Dead comic, he just ended it. He had like 3 more issues solicited, And it was a surprise ending that it was like, that's it. That's the end right there. It was like, so that even people buying the comics, like comic shops were expecting 3 more months of issues, but they just didn't exist. They were fake solicits. So that's like the ultimate pulling the rug out, which is fascinating.
It's the pulling the Band-Aid off, said, okay, I'm going to pull it off in 3 seconds. 1, 2,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
He doesn't want, he wants people to be surprised.
Yeah.
Just the nature of comic books and the solicits, it just like
it ruins
it's got to be done, but it ruins it. And for him to just be like completely flat out lying, there's an issue of Invincible closer towards the end of the run that has 2 characters on a couch hanging out with 2 babies, or it's a baby, and it's like who's wait, is that their baby?
What happened? I've missed something here, but I don't.
It has nothing to do with the book.
No.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Ryan Otley just ate that shit up.
It's just fun for them because they, and not in a look at us fucking with them. It's like let's do a fun bit of art. That it's like it's using some of the same characters. It's in the same world, definitely, but like it doesn't need to mean everything.
They would show character deaths on the covers.
Yeah.
Like major character deaths. And did it get to the point where at the end, like the last like 10 issues, it's like everyone dies?
Yeah, everyone was dying on the cover of the last issue, sort of thing. Whether they did or not, like was completely irrelevant. Like, but yeah.
It's like the end of
it was
or
the
end of
the
Eve,
end of
the end of and it was there was like Debbie. It was like the end of Debbie or something. And I was like, it's like, all right, we all now know you're fucking with us, and so just whatever.
There are two big arcs in the books that I can think of. That it's the something war. That's one of them, and the other one is like up there. But it's but it's I think that we might get the first one of those at the in season 2, and then the second one of those in season 3. The one that you were referring to is the season 3 one. And I think that would be really good because with Angstrom Levy, it sort of leads in nicely to the first of those, and then with the other guys, and we've mentioned Thrag and Conquest already. So with those guys, we've seen Conquest, and I think we'll see
Conquest doesn't show up in Conquest when they do the shots of Viltrum. I mean, now I'm telling you who Conquest is. You don't see him when Nolan's telling Mark where he comes from.
No.
But in the series, we do see Conquest in that shot, and so that's what's also good about the show is Kirkman's like, oh, I can set up stuff I didn't know I could set up back when I did the book, and so I can see Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Conquest.
I think we can.
And I always like Thrag more than Conquest. I think
Thrag's a way more interesting character, but Conquest is the first of that bunch.
But it's the nice ramping up. So yes, we'll get Conquest, but I'm
also we've seen a cloak. Like there was a cloak in season 1. I think it was in the very first episode that is definitely reminiscent, at least in a design, to Thrag. Like we'll just say,
Thrag's gonna end up with it. Yeah.
It's not like the cloak is inconsequential. It's just it's a visual cue for people like us who have read those books and go, that is a bit of costume that is very tied to a character. Yeah.
Ooh.
I can't wait. Like talking about it has made me even more anticipated than I already was.
I know. And that's the thing is they did the trailer, and I was like, cool. I didn't watch it because I'm like, I don't want to be spoiled. Because I turned it on and it's like a whole scene. And then Mark over on my Discord said, it's not from the show. You got to watch it. It's not a spoiler. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I realized what was happening. And then I'm like, oh man, Invincible's great. And I want to reread it. I want to do this. I want to rewatch it. I try to rewatch it. I'll probably finish that after I'm done.
We sung the praises of the animation because of the style that they've used and everything for it, and how it worked as a comic book show. It was an adaptation of a comic book. I heard a lot of people sort of thinking that it felt rough, like but I think in comparison to, say, like, I don't know, the Bad Batch or one of the 3D animated shows that are plentiful now, it is more stilted. It is more two people sat talking,
anime style.
Anime style, I guess. But I mean, even like newer ones of that, I guess, are probably a lot more dynamic. But it leans into and it works so well with it being Invincible. There was panels in Invincible. There was ongoing jokes where Mark would go to a comic book shop for a signing, and there's a fake version of Kirkman there, and he's like, "Yeah, but I don't know. It's not as good as it used to be. It's like, it just feels lazy now when artists just reuse panels." And the joke of it is that entire page is one panel with a different speech bubble sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think there's an element of that, but it is dynamic when it needs to be, and it makes those big fights, and it makes the impact of those big fights feel more so. It's like the speed ramping and the way that they did Into the Spider-Verse, like someone's on the 2, someone's on the 3s, like the difference. It's not exactly that, but it's a similar effect that it had on me, at least.
I feel like it may feel a little more primitive, but also it has like kind of a feel of like a Justice League Unlimited or something, where it's like a very, I mean, or it actually reminds me of Young Justice, the series Young Justice. I feel like the animation style in the movements and the characters and the backgrounds and stuff look very, very similar to Young Justice. And then when you get the scene in the first episode with Nolan and the Guardians of the Globe, you're like, oh shit, it's pulling the rug out from under you. I feel safe with this comic book story.
Yep.
Oh no, this isn't like those other ones.
Yeah. And especially where that in that first episode we're introduced to the team, and they are such like Justice League 1-for-1 comparisons and everything. Like, so to then, as you said, pull the rug out, it just works perfectly.
I feel like the animation pulls you into like this nice comfortable thing, and then
I don't want them to change it because they've now been picked up for 2 more seasons. I don't want them to be like, hey, we've got more budget, that's why it's taken us so long, because we're doing so much more. It's like, no, the animation was fine. Like, there was no problems with that animation. Like it
but it seems like what they do is they really spend the time animating the fight scenes.
Which perfect.
Like that's where most of the effort goes to.
It's the equivalent of the big splash page every few issues that, an Otley or a Cory Walker would have done. Yeah. Do you think we'll get any? We mentioned it as we were watching through season 1, like cameo characters like Savage Dragon, or we got Battle Beast, we got the Rorschach looking guy. He was in there.
Damien Darkblood.
Yeah. Any others? Like Savage Dragon, I think would be a fun one. I'd like. I
feel like Eric Larson did. That's like a Kirkman thing. Like the Kirkman guys.
So Wolfman, Tech Jacket, Brit, Battle Pope, I think would be a hard one. I think
they could stick him somewhere.
They could stick him somewhere,
like at a funeral, like just somewhere in there. But I mean, like it's tough because like with Savage Dragon, like. Eric Larson, 100% on board with this book from the beginning. Yeah. He did some of the Guardians of the Globe issue 7. I think he did. I think the War Woman stuff.
And then later on, he does some more. A few of the other Image guys do. More.
And Savage Dragon was in the thing. It was an Image book, and
Eric Larson being like one of the main guys.
Eric Larson saying, you can put him in. You can put him in. That's no big deal. As far as like putting him into a streamer. I don't know if he has to get paid for that.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably some license.
Maybe they could slip it in. But dude, let's get a Savage Dragon book or a show.
Yeah. I think I'd like to see the Kirkman ones. I'd like to see, because I think there's room there for expansion. Like, you could do a single season. You could probably do all of Wolfman in a single season, maybe 2 seasons.
That's what I was thinking. Like, get Wolfman in the show. Do 1 episode Halloween special like they did with Werewolf by Night, and then just give him his 1 season. The way Kirkman's doing it, you could do it in 10.
Yeah,
all of
definitely.
Wolfman, because Wolfman was like 26 issues.
Yeah, it was four trades. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, if you guys read Invincible now and finish by Halloween, read Wolfman for
I
Halloween.
think
It's a great book.
if you're reading the trades, you'll probably get the issue of Wolfman, because there was a crossover thing where it was like the story starts in,
I think it's in both.
Yeah, it's in both trades. So you'll get both issues in both trades. So if you're reading
Mm-hmm.
Wolfman, you'll get the issue of Invincible. If you're reading Invincible, you get the issue of Wolfman.
I think you get both
in
both trades.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm pretty sure you do. I'm pretty sure you do.
Damn, I loved Astounding Wolfman.
It's really good.
Astounding Wolfman was so good.
Yeah. Like Brit's fun, cool, interesting character. And obviously we've seen some of the characters from Brit in this show already.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of them spins off directly. Who's a fairly, I wouldn't say a major character, but he's a regular. He's like a book regular in Invincible, and then spins out into being a main character in Brit. And then that show could easily exist as well. I preferred Wolfman over Brit, but I'd be happy to see both.
Yeah. Lucha asks, speaking of the animation, did the animation in the teaser itself feel off to anyone? Kind of felt jilted and choppy for some reason. For me, I don't think it did. Again, they probably just wanted to get something out.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, and they wanted us to know that
they don't need to put the full budget behind it. It's just a
Yeah.
teaser. Yeah.
Also, they did sort of a handheld camera thing in it, so it kind of looked a little weird. But no, I thought it looked fine.
Yeah,
I thought it looked fine. I think the lighting looked really good.
Yeah. First time I watched it was on my phone. Second time was just now as we were sort of chopping, stopping and starting as we were going anyway. So I didn't notice, but it might be a little rougher.
Yeah,
it's fine. It wasn't noticeably bad.
The thing that I like is I like the Green Lantern, the animated series. Didn't care for the character designs. I don't think that Bruce Timm's style really translated well to 3D animation.
Yeah,
but the story was so good that you kind of forget about it. So I think when you're just watching a scene between two people that just kind of pops in the middle of it, you're going to tend to notice more. But when you're watching the series, you forget about the animation and you're just watching the characters. So it might have been, but who knows? I have faith in the thing. I think if they're going to take this long to do it, it's going to be good. I would love if they did a Super Bowl trailer. Just even if I don't know if they have the money. Well, Amazon has the money, but
they do. I don't know if they're putting it to Invincible.
But I mean, I would love to see
that would be a
trailer
to the show. Yeah,
right. But I'd love to see that style of trailer. Maybe Invincible put it up at the time at halftime.
Well, that's it. It doesn't need to be aired during the Super Bowl. Just put it up on Sunday night, sort of thing, like Sunday evening. Yeah,
but just some sort of.
Because we got this a week, 2 weeks ago. I don't think we're going to get that, but maybe
something.
Maybe. I think we're more likely to get something at San Diego in July.
I feel like this trailer was put online for people like us
who are just
hey, here it's coming along.
You said in December. You said in December that we were getting something this year. We were kind of maybe hoping it was the show, but give us something. Come on now.
Yeah, but they need to do a trailer for everybody else.
Yeah.
So hopefully that comes sooner than later.
I think my prediction is we get a full trailer and release date. San Diego in July, and then the show drops November, around Thanksgiving.
I think the way it's going, as far as this show, we'll probably do another one of these when a trailer releases.
Absolutely.
And then with our schedule for live action Star Wars, depending on what's happening at the time.
Yep.
When this show drops, we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking if they did drop another 3 in the first week, we're just gonna do 3 consecutive days.
Yep.
And then I don't know about your schedule, but we do live action Star Wars on Wednesdays. But I don't see why we couldn't do Invincible Fridays.
Yeah, I think Invincible Fridays works. I think that makes the most sense. It'll probably be a Friday release because that's Amazon's release day of all their shows. So,
And I believe they release them at midnight
they
Eastern time.
They did last time, so yeah, that would make it a
So
lot
I could
easier
watch
for
it the night before.
I could watch it
Instead
my
of
last
waking up at
hour of work.
5:30.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But we will figure it out. But yeah, it's quite likely that it'll be live action Star Wars on Wednesdays and Invincipod on Fridays.
and I believe we promised at one point, because you did finish reading the series, that we would discuss the comic.
Yeah.
So I would say in a couple months' time, I'll be done with the series again, and then maybe we can do that episode.
I'll brush up on
talking about
I'll
the
reread
end
it
of
because it'll have been a
Invincible.
year, more than a year, well, like 2 years since I'll have
Yeah.
finished it again. Then, so I'll finish it. Like I'll just do the last trade or something. But
And what's funny is, like, I went back and I was listening to some of the first episode, and I thought that Nolan's thing happened in like issue 26. I didn't remember that the trash bag had landed in England. I thought it was still out there. And there's I just finished reading like part 3 of that storyline.
There's a cult.
The aftermath. Yeah.
There's a cult pops up around the trash bag from space.
Yeah.
Yeah. They worship it.
And I think that's the end of it. I'm pretty sure that's
London's
the
full
end
of dummies.
It's like there's the Marty Feldman looking dude with the graduation cap, which doesn't sound like it's going to happen in the show. No. But at graduation, Mark throws his graduation cap in the air, goes much higher than everybody else's graduation cap.
Such a great panel.
And then it lands next to the trash bag, which is so fucking funny to me because that doesn't make the trajectories and it hitting the same spot. He was a Burger Mart when he threw the bag.
It doesn't need
they
to.
both land in the same spot. It's so fucking funny to me. And it lands on the dude's head and they crown him the leader of the cult. Guys, just
Invincible's great.
You can wait till the show's over, but I'm telling you, you're gonna get so much more out of the book, and you'll start knowing when you're getting into season 2 type stuff.
Oh yeah. You can duck out then if you need to, if you really want to. I predict that you'll want to keep reading. And then you get to be smug book readers love being smug book readers. Join us.
But you're on the same page as us.
Yeah.
And so when we do stuff, like Jeremy says, so am I going to get spoiled if I go back and listen to Invincipod season 1? Again, we're pretty good about keeping stuff close to the vest. This thing I keep pointing to below us.
It's not even a spoiler.
Even if you read all of it, you'll know what we're teasing and what we're not saying, which might make it more fun. But I don't think we'll spoil you for season 2 because we've been skirting around it a lot.
We've not mentioned big things, and obviously Nolan reveal is a big thing. We danced around it, we didn't reveal it, and then the show gave us a gift of doing it essentially in the first episode.
Yeah.
So we could then talk about it some more. So they are changing up the order of things. But if it's a big major thing that would ruin the plot if you knew it, we're not going to say it. But mentioning some character names isn't going to be a problem.
I can say, rereading it, that the first 4 trade paperbacks is all storylines in season 1. They're all out of order.
Yeah.
But now that I'm in trade paperback 5, I'm starting to get stuff that hasn't happened on the show yet. So you're getting 4 big storylines without getting spoiled.
Yeah.
Now, will you be able to stop reading after 4? I highly
That's
doubt
on
it.
you. That's on you.
But I mean, it doesn't matter. Come join us, because the
Yeah.
show, even though we've read the entire series, the show is still really exciting to us, and Kirkman's doing different things that's really exciting. Like there's that scene where there's like a tomb with a mummy or something.
Yeah.
In the show, I have no idea what that is.
Like it could be related to something that we've read, but so far it's not. It could be a completely new villain or something that they've set up for the show.
And it hasn't been
awesome,
and it hasn't been brought up since. So, like, I mean, reading it, you're just getting more fleshed out stuff. I can't recommend the book enough because I want to start saying things out loud.
Yeah.
So the more people that read the book, the more we can say things like the Viltrumite War.
Oh yeah, the Invincible War. That's the 2 wars that I was referring to earlier on.
Yeah, this one down here.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like, you got to know.
Yeah,
like based on what Nolan said, even though he's gone, it doesn't mean that Viltrum's not out there anymore. They're still out there conquering planets. Is he coming back with them?
Yeah.
Are they going to find out that he left his post? What is it? There's all kinds of stuff.
And
I don't even know how the show's going to do this.
And we know that Alan is a part of a bigger thing. Like we've heard mention of the
coalition of planets.
We've heard mention of it, and that he's now like, okay, maybe you should come and meet them. Like, so we got to think that Mark's going to go see those guys. And that opens up a whole wider thing.
I just finished reading the part where Mark goes to Mars, which happens after Nolan leaving, and then we saw that in the middle of
they did it. They did it already, yeah.
So like we know Mark is gonna go to explore outer space. Like, just guys, just read the first. I'm saying right now, read the first 4 trades. Yeah. You won't be spoiled on season 2. Lucha, do it now. You're gonna get a great reading experience. You're gonna get more. You're gonna get more out of the 8 episodes that you saw.
Yeah,
and but if you can't stop reading, that's on you.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's really good. Like, look, we created this podcast because we like the book so much, and we love the show. The book does not ruin the show.
No,
it didn't ruin the show at all.
If the show sucked, we'd probably still do the show, this show, because we'd be like, yeah, isn't it a shame? But isn't the book so great when they do this and that? I was like, but the show's really good as well, so it's a bonus.
Like, I guess there's people online who are mad at Last of Us for straying from the game.
It makes it better.
Like, but Invincible strays from the book, but barely, and it's really good. The changes they make are all positive changes.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait. Okay. I can't wait. I'm not gonna reread the whole thing again before season 2. I did it last year or the year before. But I will reread some of the latter bits that I've only read once.
Okay.
Before we do it. Yeah, when you're getting close, let me know and we'll finish up.
So Jeremy says he's gonna go get the first trade. If you get it in the trade in the floppy form, they have great forwards. I like reading the forwards.
Yeah, they're really nice.
By other comic creators who are just like, this book is so good. Yeah. You're gonna blast through it so fast. You're gonna be done with it. It's gonna make you sad.
Get the first couple.
Yeah, or
comic shops need the help as well. Like, they won't mind. Like that. Yeah. Get one of the compendiums or something. Like, I mean, compendiums are chunky, big tomes. They're not comfortable to read, but
no.
Yeah. The hardcovers that they did were nice. There was like 2 or 3 trades per big, like slightly oversized hardcovers.
Yeah.
They're lovely. I really like those.
Yeah. Those are the ones I wanted to get.
Yeah.
But I had the floppy trades then you get the monthly and it's just agonizing.
Mm-hmm. The thing that you got with the monthly issues was like they did pinups. Like, a lot of guest artists just did pinups of characters and stuff in the back, and there was the letter pages. The letter pages were always fun. I think they put some of that stuff in some of the trades, but not all.
Yeah, but you read. I could read a trade in the same amount of time as I read like a floppy, like a regular issue.
Yeah,
and you're gonna blast through that first one. If you just get the regular paperback trades, you're gonna blast through it so fast. You could probably stand there in the shop and read like the first 2 trades, just standing there without anybody notice that you just read the first.
By the time we're back next week with a live action Star Wars episode, Jeremy Kelly's gonna have read like half the series. That's my prediction.
Yeah, keep us posted.
Yeah,
either in the comments here, or on Twitter or Instagram. I don't know.
So
just let us know where you're at.
What a great segue. That takes us to where you can find us. So you can follow this show on Twitter at liveactionsw. You can follow us. No, that is the other show.
This show? Yeah.
This show. No, you can follow this show at Invincipod. You can follow us individually at Jay Hewlett or at Casino Skunk. And yeah, you can follow the other show, which is at liveactionsw. Both shows are on YouTube. Go subscribe. Both shows are on potentially all podcast platforms, all the good ones. definitely, but potentially all of the other ones as well. Yeah, go subscribe on both of those things. It really does help. And tell your friends about this one in particular. The other one as well, definitely, because it helps us grow that, and we really want to grow that. This is a smaller audience, which is nice, but because we can catch people quicker. But yeah, go find it. Go subscribe. Go tell everyone about this show. If they're watching Invincible, if they mention, when's Invincible coming back? Go, they're coming back later this year. But in the meantime, go and listen to these two bearded knobheads.
Or now watch us.
Or watch us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, we are both now. And it's awesome. I want to thank everybody in the chat.
Yes. It's the first time on a new channel, so it is nice to see you guys here.
Yeah. And I'm doing that thing where I look for the ending of the show. But we don't have a sign off, do we? Did we ever have a sign off for the show?
I can't remember. If we did, I can't remember it.
Let me go back.
Oh, keep looking up because of the whole no one looks up? I don't know. That's yeah. Needs to be worked.
I feel like we had one.
I feel like it might have been that, but I don't like it. I think we need to change it.
Maybe.
All right. We'll find something. We'll figure something out. I mean, yeah, I guess until next time, follow us over on Live Action Star Wars next week. We'll be back talking about Revenge of the Sith for Ralph's birthday. No?
Not. Rise of Skywalker.
Right, the Rise of Skywalker, sorry, for Ralph's birthday with a couple of guests. It should be a really fun
Pete the retailer.
Star Wars
Pete
Minute.
the retailer from Star Wars Minute has agreed to join us, and Riley Silverman, author of Star Wars books, including the Life Day pop-up advent calendar.
Should be a great
that'll
episode.
be great.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I hope they both make it.
We can go long as well with that one, which will be fun.
Yeah, we're starting later, I think, too.
Yeah, we are starting later. We've got all night basically. So, yeah. If you've not watched Rise of Skywalker, it's a really fun movie. Everybody, really is a fun movie. I'm not sarcastic. I really think it's a fun movie.
This is going to be an echo chamber of an episode with 4 defenders of the Rise of Skywalker.
The positivity echo chamber for the movie that are mostly universally hated.
And I was like, fuck it, it's my birthday coming up. This is what I wanted to be. And I know it doesn't make for interesting podcasting. But I don't care. I love Rise of Skywalker, and I don't care who knows it. Nope. And I don't want to fight anybody about it that day. So we'll see who plays nice in the chat that day and who doesn't, but we'll be over there. So yeah, I'm about to hit the button. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you know when we do.
Yeah, that's the thing with a sporadic show like this in particular. Like, it's really important to hit that one.
I'm thinking maybe the week after Mando's done.
Cool.
Instead of jumping back into Star Wars with a day link, we'll come over here. We'll talk about the book. I should be done by then. Nice. Reading, and we'll talk about the. So I mean, you guys who haven't read the book yet, it's not going to be for you because we're going to be talking spoilers in that one. So you have 2 choices. Don't watch us or listen to us, which is a horrible choice, or read all of Invincible by then and enjoy the conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
Do it.
Hit the button.
Yeah. Invincible's great. Go watch it. Go read it.
Bye. We'll come up with a sign off.